Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about chambers as champions, particularly through the eyes of a millennial. And I am a millennial, so I won't pretend to speak on behalf of the entire cohort, but this is something that I truly believe in that I'm sharing with you today. A quick introduction about myself. I work for the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce in California, where I have been on staff for just over a year. I was excited to step onto the Emerging Leaders Advisory Council for W.A.C.E. at the conference this year. I am a graduate of Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego. And fun fact, I started interning at a Chamber of Commerce, the Porterville Chamber in particular, when I was in high school in 2011, and went through college thinking the Chamber of Commerce industry is where I'm going to land. The Chamber of Commerce industry is something that I love, and I see the value that the Chamber of Commerce industry has. This picture in particular is just fun and a good remembrance for me because on your guys' right, some of you California folks may remember former Assemblywoman and Republican leader Connie Conway, who represented Porterville. And on the left is former mayor of the city of Porterville, Virginia Garola, who's a Democrat. And this was a chamber function that we were at. And it was such a powerful moment for me to see these two community influencers coming together to understand that they needed to work together to benefit their community. So that was just a little bit of a fun fact. I'm going to go over some definitions with you so that you can understand the lens that I'm talking to you through today. First, the definition of champion is a person which fights or argues for a cause or on behalf of someone else. And I make the point that in order to truly serve as a champion for your business community or for whoever, you have to fight with conviction and you have to have purpose in order to do that. And I will tell you that as a millennial and the millennial generation puts purpose above all else. If something does not have purpose and value, we don't care about it, we don't want to do it, and we don't really want to hear about it. And as harsh as that may be, that's what we've learned, and that's the experiences that we have. And whether or not our Gen X or baby boomer parents and grandparents are willing to understand this, the millennial generation truly can see through a brand and through a company or a business or an organization like a chamber that has no other goal other than to make money. We want to participate and buy things from organizations where I'm buying a bar of soap for my house and I'm sending a bar of soap to a child in Africa. We want to shop at companies that are healthy for our families and healthy for the communities around us. So let's get into the definition of millennial. This is a pretty highly contested and argued point, but for the sake of and this is my favorite part. I gave this to my board yesterday, and I got the same looks around the room because some of them were not willing to admit that they were millennials. Millennials were born from 1980 to roughly 1996 to 2000. So you're thinking that millennials are between 17 and 37 years old. That means there are roughly between 76 and 92 million millennials in the U.S. That's the largest cohort of people right now in the United States. Today, I want to talk to you particularly through the lens of my friend Matthew here, Matthew the millennial. Matthew values nothing more than purpose and goals, and that's what he wants to be a part of. Matthew wants to be a part of an organization that he can stand on the front lines with, that he can donate his time, talent, and what little treasure he has to, and really be a part of. Matthew and the millennial generation, we want to be a part of something that matters. So now particularly through the lens of the chamber that I work for. In 2015, we were the Fullerton Chamber of Commerce. We had 572 members, an annual budget of $486,000, and that year in particular, we ran an over $25,000 deficit. Our organization was failing faster than we could really think up solutions. But our board and our executive leadership over the last several years began recognizing that something had to change, something has to give, and we've got to do things differently. We've got to start thinking as how we can be champions for our community and how the business community and the millennial generation are going to continue to find value in the organization that we are. And so on July 1st of 2015, we rolled out the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce brand. And I am pleased to tell you today that this number is just a little bit outdated. About 15 minutes ago, we are officially at 1,361 members of our organization. We have an annual budget of $600,000 and it's continuing to grow. It's a massive turnaround. We are operating in the black rather than in the red. And even more importantly, we have eliminated the financial barrier for membership in our organization, meaning that any business or nonprofit in North Orange County, in the 9 cities that we work with, can join our organization for $0. But we encourage investment at all levels. We had to create a plan and recognize that the business community expects us to serve as their champion and to continue to gain their investment. And as millennials continue to step into leadership roles, to continue to get them to write those checks to us, we've got to show them purpose and we've got to show them value. And so those numbers are really looking up for us. We're finding that this is working really well for our community. Last year, we adopted a strategic plan. We recognized that we'd been doing this for about 18 months now. We've got to have a plan moving forward of who we're going to be in 2026. This is kind of where we set our parameters. So we asked ourselves the question, where are we now? What have we done in 18 months as the North Orange County Chamber of Commerce? And then we asked ourselves the question, where do we want to be? Where does our board and our executive staff want the organization to be in 2026? And lastly, we asked ourselves the question, how are we going to get there? And as we asked ourselves these questions, we had to stop and recognize that second question, where do we want to be, was not the question that we needed to be asking ourselves. We needed to be asking ourselves the question, what does the business community need us to be in North Orange County? Our board members, too, think like residents sometimes rather than business professionals and people that are sitting on a board of directors for an organization that's serving as a champion for the region. And so by asking ourselves the question, what does the business community need us to be, it helped us think a little bit differently. So we adopted 4 initiatives. I'm going to walk you through those initiatives, particularly on why we think the millennial generation is finding value in those efforts. So first is our Building Cities initiative. We recognize that the millennial generation currently makes up 35% of the U.S. workforce. And in the next 10 years, they will make up approximately 75% of the U.S. workforce. That's huge. They are the leaders that, again, will be writing the checks to our organizations in the next 10 years and debating on whether or not we're going to get those checks or whether they can find someone else and somebody else of value for that. So we looked at things like Main Streets and recognized that big box retailers we see on the news every day are continuing to close their doors, and the millennial generation has a passion for engaging small businesses and entrepreneurs and boutique shops. And so as we recognize that Matthew, the millennial, along with his counterparts, have $200 billion in spending power on an annual basis, we recognize that we have got to serve as a champion for the community in building the cities that we work with in every facet, from small business development to networking opportunities to educating our members on the economics and what the economy in North Orange County looks like, and really beginning to understand that we needed to serve as a champion in this way. Our second initiative is our Diversity and Inclusion Initiative. And this particularly, we adopted this initiative in mind, this cannot just be a buzzword. Over the last decade, many businesses and corporations around the country and the world have begun to adopt diversity and inclusion initiatives as a way to engage a diverse population of people. You got to think about things differently. Because as we look at Matthew, the millennial, and his counterparts, we recognize that 57% of millennials are non-Hispanic whites, compared to 78% of their silent generation counterparts. 15% of millennials are foreign-born, and 25% of millennials speak a language other than English at their home. We are dealing with the true embodiment of a majority-minority generation that has grown up with people that they don't look alike. They've grown up with people that have different values and different characteristics than they do, and we need to recognize that. And so we have, along with our Women's Business Networks, our Emerging Leaders Council, partnered with our local ethnic chambers. Because as difficult as partnerships have been in the past, we recognize that we've got to work together, because the city of Buena Park in North Orange County is now being labeled as the new Koreatown in Southern California. We have got a diverse population of people that we have got to engage with our business community that have been members of the North Orange County Chamber for a long time. Next is our Impact Initiative. This is the legislative advocacy arm of what we do. This is kind of where I jive and really enjoy what the Chamber can do. And so as we're advocating for community development in the environment, the economy, and human relations as kind of some key pillars of what we're doing, we're looking at millennials like Matthew and recognizing that 7 in 10 millennials are self-proclaimed social activists. And no matter what your opinion was on the November 2016 election, it truly empowered and emboldened the millennial generation to go out and protest and share what they believe in and share their values. You saw the longest protest in U.S. history at LAX happen. For over a week, they were protesting, in the arrival zone and, blocking cars and really beginning to express their voice and who they are. And so as we go back and look at the fact that millennials are between 17 and 37 years old, in the midterm elections of November 2018, every millennial will be eligible to vote in the U.S. elections. We have got the largest cohort of people in the U.S. that we, as chamber executives and professionals and the business community, we've got to learn to bottle that power and gear it towards advocating for the success of the business community. And in North Orange County, that's easier said than done, because while we come across as a longtime Republican stronghold, for the first time in 50 years, Orange County voted for a Democrat in the presidential election. We're seeing our demographics change. We're seeing the people in the business community change. And we want to really bottle that power for something meaningful. And lastly is our workforce initiative. As many chambers of commerce are beginning to hear from their business community, and as I'm sure many of you have begun to understand this gap in the future of the workforce in your regions, we needed to adopt something that was going to address that. And so in partnership with the North Orange County Community College District and the Orange County Department of Education and our local high school districts, we said something's got to give, because millennials like Matthew are on track to become the most educated generation in U.S. history, and yet and with bachelor's degrees. I think at current count, the number is 48% of millennials have a bachelor's degree. And yet my businesses are saying, I don't necessarily need them to have a bachelor's degree. I need them to have these certain certificates or industry credentials or just an AA degree to get by. And I want them to stay here and be educated the way that I need them to be educated. And so as we really begin to look at that and see something different, that workforce initiative is becoming a key pillar of who we are. And so I say that the question cannot be, what is your business community doing for your chamber? For a long time, since I was a junior in high school, I've had businesses tell me I only join the chamber and the chamber only likes me because I cut them a check every year and I donate a basket to their annual auction. We can't be that for the business community any longer. We cannot be that burden that the business community is writing checks to every year and giving auction items to and doing things like that. We have got to be asking ourselves the question, what is your chamber doing for your business community? What is your chamber serving as a champion for your business community? The chamber brand promise done by W.A.C.E. and Brand Birth really shows that the strength of the business community and the strength of the community at large are inextricable. And so as Chamber of Commerce, wherever you are, the tools that you're providing to your business community are vital for the success of the community at large. And so ask yourselves the question every day, is my chamber serving as a champion for my business community? I wake up and ask myself this question, and it's gotten to the point where my wife is quite bothered by this question in the morning. Is my chamber serving as a champion for my business community? And so we believe that we've adopted some initiatives that will guide us in that path, and really beginning to understand that the millennial generation, the future of America, is asking us to serve as champions for our community. Thank you very much.